Hello, movie lovers. Today we're counting down the top 10 horror movies, from psychological nightmares to supernatural terrors that will test your nerves and haunt your mind. So without any delay, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's begin. At number 10, Bone Lake. In this movie, we see a young couple, Sage and Diego, seeks romance and escape at a luxurious lakeside estate for their vacation. Their dream getaway shatters when they discover the mansion has been double booked, forcing them to share the space with another attractive, enigmatic couple. Initial awkwardness gives way to flirtation, seduction, and a web of lies as boundaries blur in a haze of alcohol, desire, and manipulation. The film masterfully blends sensuality with horror, delivering twists, psychological games, and visceral violence in a seductive tale of lust gone lethally wrong. At number 9, Send Help. This movie is a survival horror thriller that traps its characters in a nightmare of isolation. After a devastating accident, two strangers find themselves stranded in a hostile environment with limited resources and no way to communicate with the outside world. Their main challenge is finding food, shelter, and hope. But as days turn into nights, something darker emerges, suggesting they are not alone. The environment itself begins to feel threatening, almost alive. Tension rises as trust between the survivors slowly breaks down. The movie explores fear born from isolation, human psychology under pressure, and the terrifying idea that help may never come. At number 8, Dust Bunny. In this movie we see 10-year-old Aurora is convinced that a terrifying monster living under her bed has devoured her entire family, leaving her alone in a house filled with grief and fear. Desperate for help, she turns to her mysterious neighbor, a hardened hitman who specializes in eliminating real-life monsters for hire. Initially skeptical, the neighbor agrees to take the job, drawing him into Aurora's world of shadows, secrets, and supernatural dread. As they team up to confront the creature, the story blurs the line between childhood imagination and horrifying reality, revealing dark truths about loss, trauma, and the monsters we create or inherit. At number 7, The Long Walk. Based on Stephen King's novel, this movie shows, in a near-future dystopian America ruled as a totalitarian police state, 100 teenage boys are selected for the annual Long Walk, a grueling endurance contest where participants must maintain a minimum speed of 3 miles per hour along an endless rural road. Falling behind, stopping, or straying off course results in immediate execution by armed soldiers. The last boy standing wins immense wealth and a single wish granted by the state, centering on Raymond Garrity and his fellow walkers, including the cynical Peter McFries. The film follows their physical and mental deterioration over days of relentless marching, sleep deprivation, and mounting casualties. At number 6, Primate. In this movie, we see a close-knit group of friends embarks on a tropical vacation at a luxurious cliffside mansion in Hawaii, bringing along Ben, the family's intelligent and beloved pet chimpanzee. The getaway turns horrific when Ben is bitten by a rabid animal, triggering a rapid descent into aggressive primal rage. Ben's behavior becomes unpredictable and violent, attacking family members and guests during a pool party and beyond. Trapped in the isolated glass-walled estate with no easy escape, the survivors, including young Lucy and her relatives, must kill the primate while dealing with the emotional devastation of losing a family member. At number 5, Him. Produced by Jordan Peele, the film shows a promising young quarterback, Cameron Cade, receives the opportunity of a lifetime, an invitation to train at the secluded compound of a legendary aging NFL star who dominates as the league's greatest quarterback. Eager to achieve greatness, Cameron immerses himself in the idol's world of intense regimens, isolation, and mentorship. However, the champion's charisma hides a darker obsession with legacy, power, and immortality. As training intensifies, Cameron uncovers horrifying rituals, psychological manipulation, and supernatural elements tied to fame's cost, sacrifices that may involve blood, idolatry, and the erosion of self. At number 4, Bring Her Back. This movie shows, after their father's death, a grieving brother and sister are placed in the care of a seemingly kind but isolated foster mother in a remote home. The siblings soon sense something deeply wrong. Strange rituals, eerie noises, and the foster mother's obsessive behavior hint at a sinister supernatural agenda tied to loss and resurrection. As they uncover evidence of dark folk magic and a terrifying plan to bring her back, perhaps a deceased loved one, the house becomes a prison of mounting dread. The foster mother shifts from nurturing to unhinged, drawing the children into a domestic nightmare of possession, sacrifice, and horror rooted in grief. At number 3, Return to Silent Hill. In this movie, we see James Sunderland, a tormented man still grieving the loss of his wife Mary, receives a mysterious letter, apparently from her, urging him to return to the fog-shrouded town of Silent Hill. Drawn by the promise of reunion, he ventures into the decaying, alternate reality version of the once familiar resort town, now a nightmarish labyrinth of rust, darkness, and psychological torment. As James searches for Mary, he encounters grotesque, symbolic monsters born from guilt, repression, and unspoken sins, including the iconic Pyramid Head. The town's otherworldly forces manifest his inner demons, blurring the line between reality and delusion. Haunted by memories of Mary's illness and death, James unravels a devastating truth about his past actions and their consequences. The film explores themes of denial, punishment, and redemption. At number 2, Nosferatu. In 19th century Germany, newlywed Ellen Hutter is plagued by lifelong visions of a demonic entity. Her husband Thomas travels to Transylvania to finalize a real estate deal with the reclusive Count Orlok, a plague-ridden noble whose arrival in their town of Wisborg unleashes rats, disease, and death. Orlok becomes infatuated with Ellen, seeing her as the reincarnation of his lost love or a vessel for his desires. As he stalks her across continents, Ellen's psychic connection to the vampire deepens, blending obsession, seduction, and torment. Thomas and allies race to stop Orlok's spread of horror, but the Count's ancient evil proves nearly unstoppable. Robert Eggers' Gothic masterpiece delivers atmospheric dread, stunning visuals of shadow and decay, and a haunting tale of forbidden longing. At number 1, Mother of Flies. A young woman diagnosed with terminal cancer, facing a slow and painful death, rejects conventional medicine and turns to an unconventional perilous cure: witchcraft. Desperate for hope, she and her supportive family relocate to a remote woodland home to live with a reclusive witch. Known for her ability to trick death, the healer offers dark, ritualistic treatments involving ancient rites, herbal concoctions, and supernatural bargains. But every remedy demands a steep price. As the woman's condition initially improves, eerie side effects emerge: hallucinations, bodily transformations, swarms of flies, and disturbing visions that suggest the magic is consuming her from within. Her family witnesses the toll, torn between hope and horror, as the witch's influence grows possessive and malevolent. This intimate folk horror chamber piece builds a somber, atmospheric meditation on mortality, desperation, and the cost of defying nature. And that's our list for top 10 horror movies that prove fear comes in many forms: ghosts, guilt, grief, and the human mind itself. Which one did you watch and scared you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next nightmare is just one video away.